What's up everybody and welcome to my general overview of Fortnite. There has been a ton of confusion about what this game is, and the goal of this video is to answer any questions that you may have and ultimately help you decide whether or not this game is something you'd be interested in. I'll be going over the different systems of the game briefly and try to give you a feel of what the game is like and how it plays. I think you'll find that Fortnite actually has a lot of depth to it. This video might be longer than usual, so I'll have timestamps to the different sections down below. With all that said, let's get into it. Fortnite is a new co-op game by Epic Games, the creator of titles like Paragon and Unreal Tournament. This is a game about harvesting resources, building a base, and then defending it from waves of zombies. The game uses an instance system where you go into maps with a group and then complete missions and quests from there. Within each map, you can build structures in an unrestricted manner, but you also have something else called a storm shield. This is a place where you have a permanent base which you can continuously improve. The game is highly loot based, and you can definitely see influences from games like Borderlands and Left 4 Dead. If you're looking for a fun co-op game with base building zombie shooting, this might be something worth looking at. The game will be free to play in 2018, but as of right now, you need to purchase a Founders Pack in order to play. So how does the game actually play? Most missions follow a similar pattern. You enter an area with a specific purpose, and in the beginning, you and your team will spread out across the map, scavenging for resources and completing different objectives. Once your team has completed everything they want to do, you'll start building your defenses around the map's main objective. Activation of your main objective will summon a storm of zombies, and your goal is to defend against them until the timer runs out. That's the most basic explanation of the core game, though of course there are variations depending on the map. Loot is arguably the most important part of the game, and you can clearly tell there's a ton of influence from games like Borderlands and Diablo 3. Being a very loot-centric game, loot can be gained in a couple of different ways, namely opening piñatas, finding it in chests and containers, completing missions, and of course crafting. All weapons have durability, and once that durability is gone, the weapon is lost forever. However, whenever you get a weapon, you also get its schematic, which allows you to recraft the same weapon if you have the resources for it. Loot is categorized into different rarities: gray for common, green for uncommon, blue for rare, purple for epic, orange for legendary, and yellow for mythic. So far, I've only seen mythic rarity survivors, but in the collection book there are also mythic heroes. Aside from weapons, heroes, defenders, and survivors, you also have your resource items. There are three main building resources: wood, brick, and metal. They're used to construct your forts, and they have a maximum capacity of 999. These are pretty easy to max out, and you'll be using them up quite often. You also have your crafting resources, which are used to create your weapons from your schematics. These also take up slots in your backpack in stacks of 99 each. With all these items, you need a place to store them. Weapons, ammos, traps, and crafting supplies are all stored in your backpack, which has some pretty limited space, though you can increase its capacity through research options and skill points. When your backpack becomes full, you won't be able to loot anything in the game unless you drop some items or recycle them. You also have your home base inventory, which is your inventory outside of the instance maps, and it holds all your heroes, defenders, survivors, and schematics. Finally, you also have your storm shield inventory, which only starts with 5 slots, but again, can be upgraded. This acts as your secondary storage to your backpack. In Fortnite, you control heroes, of which there are 4 classes: the Constructor, Soldier, Ninja, and Outlander. The Constructor specializes in building forts, soldiers in combat, Ninja in melee and mobility, and Outlander in finding loot. Though there are only 4 classes, there are many different heroes for each class. And though their core role within the class remains the same, they have different skills and further specialize in different things. If we look at the Ninja class, for example, Shuriken Master Sarah is a ninja who specializes in dealing ranged damage through their throwing stars, while Stonefoot Crash is a ninja who is more suitable for dealing with large mobs through her AoEs and area stuns. You may also have noticed that each hero has multiple rarities as well. The higher rarity versions have upgraded stats and damage modifiers, and also has a different color skin. From what I know so far, you cannot upgrade a hero to a higher rarity, though I may be wrong. Their evolution is denoted by the stars. They all start with a single star, and in order to evolve them, you'll have to have the proper skill spec, as well as the materials required to evolve it. In addition, the hero must be at its max level before evolving. You're also not restricted to a single class, and you can collect as many heroes as you want. Epic Games actually encourages this through their experience point system, because your hero doesn't automatically gain experience points, but rather you get experience cards, which you can manually apply to whatever heroes you want. This means you can try out different heroes in the beginning and save the experience points until you find something you like before you dump everything into them. The same system also applies for schematics and survivor experience as well. But what exactly are survivors? And while we're on the same topic, what the heck are defenders? Survivors and Defenders was something that was really confusing to me in the beginning, but it's actually pretty simple. Defenders are the least important of the two, and they're only really there to help players who want to play solo. Defenders are simply replacements for other players when you're in an instance mission. They help you defend your fort, but you'll have to provide them with weapons and ammo. Like heroes, they also have different rarities, and each defender is restricted to a single weapon type. Survivors are much more interesting. These are used to form your squads, and they give your hero passive stat bonuses. Fort represents your 4 major stats. F for Fortitude, which increases your base health and regen rate. O for Offense, which increases your weapon damage. R for Resistance, which increases your base shield and regen rate. And T for Tech, which increases your trap, ability, and gadget damage. I won't be going into detail about survivor squad systems, but basically mixing and matching different survivors in different squads can give you a lot of different bonuses. If you want me to make a video about this and be more in-depth, let me know in the comments down below. Now that we have a good idea of what all the loot and items are about, let's talk about how we actually get them. Depending on which version you pre-ordered, you get a variety of different llamas. Now it's important to note that you only get the immediate loot llamas right away. The other ones, daily loot and founders loot llamas, are given once a day when you log in. So what's the difference between all the different llamas? Let's start with the mini llama. These are your quest reward llamas and usually just contain EXP cards or common items. When you whack them, they do have a chance to turn silver, which means they'll give you more items and usually at higher rarities. I've never actually seen a golden mini llama, but if it is possible, let me know down below. Next, we have your upgrade llama, which is your basic llama. These also have a chance to turn silver and even gold, hence the name. If it doesn't upgrade, you're guaranteed at least a single rare item. Silver llama is guaranteed at least 1 epic, and gold llama is guaranteed at least a legendary. Upgraded llamas also provide loot, usually an average of about 10 per opening. You can also see that founder coins were obtained in each opening. I believe these will only be available in the first month or so of launch, but don't quote me on that. You get 10 coins per opening, and you can use it for your launch event llamas once you collect 100. Launch event llamas guaranteed at least 1 founder's weapon, which is an epic quality weapon with a special level 5 perk that changes its weapon damage to an elemental type. Finally, the third llama you have is the daily rotation. These can be anything from weapon specific llamas to bundles to even special llamas like super llamas or troll stash. The last two are some of the rare llamas with much better loot. Aside from llamas, Epic Games is actually pretty generous with the rewards. You can get rewards and loot from doing story missions as well as many different quests available. These can include hero quests and daily quests which reset every day and much more. There's also something called a collection book which gives a ton of rewards. If you have items you don't intend to use or just have more than one of them, you can slot them into your collection book for rewards. An important thing to note, however, is that for weapons, you're putting in the schematic and not the actual weapon itself. So once you put it in, you can no longer craft that weapon unless you have multiple copies of the same schematic. Slotting in items gives your collection book experience. The rarer the item, the more experience you get. You get rewards every time you level up the book, and the rewards can range from things like llamas to skill points and much more. The two major ways to progress in this game are your research tiers and your skill trees. As you can see, these are pretty massive, so there's plenty of room for progression. We'll start off with the skill tree. The beginning of the first tree is very linear and unlocks some very important features like survivor squads and research points. I'll go more into research right after this, but here is where you unlock the first tier of research. This skill allows for the passive generation of research points, which you'll be able to use to upgrade various things. The big circular nodes here are some of the more important upgrades, and they include things like upgrading your building levels as well as evolving your hero classes. You don't need to fill out the entire tree to progress to the second tier, but one of the requirements is finishing the first area. A key thing to note is that you can also get some very powerful skills here. The airstrike is a strong AoE nuke that can be unlocked relatively early on, and these skills can be used regardless of what class you're playing. You get 1 skill point every time you fill up your commander experience bar, but you can also gain additional skill points through quests and collection book rewards. The research node, on the other hand, can be unlocked by research points which you gain passively after obtaining the skill. You have an initial cap of about 1,000 points, but that can be increased later on. It takes roughly 2 days to fill up the bar, so you won't need to log in daily to maximize your points. Most of the nodes in the research tree are passive bonuses, but you can unlock additional backpack space here and there. That's it for the basics, and hopefully you have a better understanding of what the game is about now. Next, I'll be answering some of the common questions I've seen floating around. If there's something I didn't answer or didn't cover, feel free to ask in the comment section down below and I'll try to answer everything I can. The first question, is there cross-platform play? No. Although the game is out on 3 platforms, PC, Xbox, and PS4, each has a separate player base and I don't believe they have plans to change that. Will this game be free to play? Yes, technically the game is in early access and when you pre-order, you're given the founder status. The game is scheduled to become free to play sometime in 2018, though they haven't announced the date yet. When will the pre-order packages be gone? There is currently no set date for the removal of the pre-order founder packages, but you can expect them to be gone before the game becomes free to play in 2018. Can we upgrade editions later on? Yes, if you bought the standard edition, you can upgrade to the deluxe and so forth in game. You just pay the difference. Can we trade items? There's no trade function in the game. However, you can drop items for your friends. For example, if you found a nice legendary schematic, you can craft a weapon and drop it for your friend. This goes for resources and ammo as well. This is also how you would give your defenders weapon and ammo. How do I craft items outside of missions? Unfortunately, you can't as of right now. You have to go into an instance mission in order to craft something. I'd suggest going to your home base, the Storm Shield, for some quick crafting. Are item stats random? As far as I can tell, the stats are preset. The same weapon with the same rarity, evolution, and level will have the same stats. However, each weapon also has additional perks that are unlocked every 5 levels. These perks can differ between the same weapons. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you now have a better understanding of the game. I'll have more Fortnite content coming out with a class overview up next. If you have any additional questions or have Fortnite content you want to see from me, leave it in the comments down below. As always, you can help me out by subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter for updates. I'll catch you guys in the next one.